Divergent thinking is a thought process used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, such that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. Many possible solutions are explored in a short amount of time, and unexpected connections are drawn. Welcome to Minds in Formation. All right, welcome back in the flesh, bro.
Let's go.
I get so used to us doing our remote ones. And I'm like, oh, snap. We got an in-person joint?
Nah, I'm like, man, it's like but when you kind of look at it that way, it's like, oh, I mean, we at work, we do teams, right? So it's like, oh, man, you could actually do everything that you need to do. I mean, human to human connection and, being here and looking at this person and talking to them is always going to trump all that. But you can still do those type of things and meetings and engagements via all these things that became popular, especially during the COVID era with the Zooms and the Teams. And
yeah,
sometimes it kills me, right? That especially, at our job, it's like, oh, I'm coming to work to sit in a cubicle to get on a Teams meeting that I probably could have did this meeting at home. So it's kind of weird that way. When a lot of things, especially, we working with a lot of entities that's outside of our building, that I'm doing this thing digitally anyway. Why do I have to sit here and kind of do that? So
I know it's funny, especially in our organization, because, there's a problem that we're all aware of, that there's a bit of an issue with stovepiping and people kind of just operating independently. So it's like there's not a lot of great face-to-face collaboration that's necessarily happening anyways. So it is kind of silly. It's like most of the jobs in that building should be hybrid at a minimum.
For sure. Yeah.
But you're just dragging everyone's ass in every day for what? I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah. And what really kind of struck me is when I tore my Achilles and I was out and they put me on telework and, I had my computers at home and everything. And I was like, I could do 90% of what I was doing in the building here. So just kind of like, kind of seeing what was behind the curtain. I could do most of my stuff from the house or whatever. But I had this kind of epiphany of like, especially being retired now and not, trying to figure out what to do on a daily. I got school-age children, so I always got something to do as far as their care and feeding is concerned. But it's like work is like an adult daycare but you get paid, right? So it's like you go in there, obviously you go in there with a purpose for what you're getting paid for and what you signed your acceptance letter for, but is the place where you go and you have your social interactions. Me and you, obviously we a cube from each other, so having our socializing, what they call it, water cooler talk and things like that. So, now kind of being out almost, I'll be a year in August. So kind of being out, I see why folks go back to work. Like, can't take it. Lucky for me, I got school-age children, so that keeps me pretty busy. But I see that they probably missing those social connections outside of your spouse or whoever lives in your home that, a lot of people identity is wrapped around work.
Oh yeah, especially ex-military people. Yeah. I think that community, I think a lot of people are tied to their career, but maybe that community a little bit even more so, because people have been running and gunning for 20 years, and then just to go back and sit down and be peaceful, I think is really hard for a lot of folks.
For sure. And, and I know even, no matter what, going to work, at, where we worked at, or even when we worked prior to, it's like, I know no matter how I felt that day, I was going to go in, something's going to make me laugh. It's going to be some drama going on or whatever. So it's going to be something that's going to be entertaining outside of, my primary function there. And I never hated going to work. I never hated being at work, except for them slow days. Some of them slow days, you like kind of clock watching or whatever, but when we kind of rock them and sock them, like, I love being there. But I know it was the getting to work, getting up, going to do this again.
Yeah,
here we go. But once I kind of get in, I'm locked in, and I always know that somebody is gonna be a conversation in there. That's a casual conversation about something, and you're gonna be there. It's kind of, we kind of have a lax environment too. So it's like, all right, you're going to be there with your buds and you're going to talk shit during the day and get your job done and go home and then do it all again tomorrow. So
100%. That's one of the only things that keeps me going at this point, because I'm not super passionate about the mission or the job or anything. You know, I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm like, it's the same old thing. But the homies that we have there, the little circle, like I love those guys, you know, and they mean a lot to me. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be able to stomach it. I'd be going looking to figure something else out. But yeah, I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but I was wondering, you know, how is it going being completely free from work? You know, you're staying busy with the family and whatnot, but I can only imagine there's still large chunks of time where you're like, I could do whatever I want. So what do you plug into those white spaces?
So obviously, you know, kind of the podcast thing. So obviously that's kind of, you know, social there. You know, I'm a big finance guy. So now I get to kind of look at finance all day and look, you know, kind of see what everybody's talking about and everything like that. So that's kind of, I look at finance and financial news. That's kind of like my soap opera, and it is something different every day. So that kind of keeps me entertained. Again, obviously kids in sports and everything like that. So that's a big chunk of time. Have my another son in college right now. So, you know, I have one car right now. So I've been taking him back and forth. You know, we're about 20 minutes from he on community college. So we're about 20 minutes from that. So kind of drop him off, do my thing. So just right now, really working a bunch of kind of side endeavors, right? Getting, you know, just getting my trading plans down as far as finance, you know, looking at what do I want, because I'm looking for probably next, you know, when you go to Army ACS and then you do, you know, somebody come and help you with a budget and all that stuff. So I'm looking to get that certification as accredited financial counselor or counselor or whatever, the AFC cert. So that's probably my next goal in there. So it's really that's like, where do I want to pivot? I know I don't want to go back to IT realm, but I wouldn't throw away all the 26 years of military training. I can focus those efforts and that discipline to something else, something that I'm going to hopefully enjoy, you know, kind of doing, even if it's for free, right? Just enjoy doing. So I'm really just kind of switching my focus. So, I mean, I'm in El Paso now. So I love El Paso, actually. I like, you know, I didn't know what to expect about it, but it's a nice little town or whatever. People nice, everybody kind of, you know, neighbors good. But it, again, I see why people go back, because that's hard to find that if work was your purpose the whole time, it's hard to kind of pivot and kind of find your purpose. And, you know, only time I joke, the only time I miss work is on Fridays when that check doesn't, you know, that direct deposit doesn't hit or whatnot. But I think that's where everybody needs to start kind of thinking about. I'm talking, even if you plan on staying in your job for up 10 years or whatnot, everybody needs a social outlet or something that they are passionate about. If it's your job, then fine. But most people, it's probably not. That they, you know, something creative, especially in this current society where creativity is becoming, you know, is kind of going away because everybody's kind of creating via AI tools and everything like that. So, you know, whether it's gardening and hobbies. So I think the art of the hobby, you know, is lost of a lot of people, and I get it now that I see, because a lot of people don't have time. I don't have time to, you know, knit, or I don't have time to do, you know, so people don't have time to read now, right? I read all day at work. I'm not going to sit, you know, and read a book. So a lot of people need to, let me say a lot of people need to, right? That's kind of, I would urge everybody to kind of get back to a hobby that brings them joy, because the money comes and goes, man. And a lot of people get wrapped around the money axle. You know, I used to talk to you at the job. I'm like, yo, I think I'm being greedy, man. like, man, how much is enough? Like, I'm making a lot of money right now. And I'm like, how much is enough though? I don't, you know, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, it's a little flex too, right? A little flex, you know. But it's like, how much, you know, how much is it enough? And then it's a certain amount of money that doesn't really change your life. I don't want to talk numbers here or whatever, but a certain number, 6 figures to a certain number, 6 figures, doesn't change your life a lot. You might upgrade your flight, you know, you might stay at a better hotel or something like that, but it doesn't super duper change your life or whatever. So I was talking to one of my sons. I'm like, you know, I show him the numbers, right? Here we are. I don't think low 6 figures, you probably don't get another lifestyle change until probably about 500,000 or something like that. Anything from the 1s to the 250s to the 3s, you kind of It's all the same.
Yeah,
It's all
big
the
time.
same.
And it's the old cliche too about money and happiness, right? And I think as you make more, you realize that, it's like, well, I still got the same problems. I
Mm-hmm.
still wake up feeling shitty sometimes or have poor sleep or whatever, I'm
Yep.
still the grind is still essentially the same. But it's like you said, like, oh, maybe you can get a business class seat on a plane or you
Mm-hmm.
can take an extra few days of vacation a year, but your life is
Yeah.
predominantly the same.
Again, financial. I think the only difference now is I think before I swipe. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I stick a little more to the budget, and debt free saved my. I ain't gonna say saved my life, but it made me be able to do things. I didn't have to do things in a panic, right? When it came to like a divorce, right? I didn't have to panic about it because I know, it's just gonna be a split of money. I could get it back, right? A
Hmm.
split of money, but I don't have any debt that I need to worry about. I don't have to worry about selling a house and doing everything like that. We didn't have any big mutual assets together or whatever. Lost a little retirement, lost a little pension or whatever.
Yeah,
Well,
that stuff will buff
lost
them.
TSP or whatever, but I mean, it's cool or whatnot. But and my son just passed away too, right? But with that happening, it wasn't, even though it was out of nowhere. I didn't have a bunch of burdens in the background, so we was able to, hey, pack the stuff up. Come on now, got to get six people from from Texas to Philly on a last minute ticket or whatever. But again, not having a financial stress of super debt. I don't have any debt, but being in debt, was allowed me to, come back up here, take care of everything with his place and everything up here or whatever. Get back to Texas, pack everybody up, get everybody to Philly, honor him the way, and funeral's not cheap. uh, so I do want a note. So everybody who listens to this, I, you got to check your paperwork, and I think the military does a good job of that with the SRP process and the periodic records review and everything like that. And I jacked up with that because I didn't, after I left the job, kind of stopped doing it. I was kind of floating around, and when my son passed away, I was like, oh man, he was 24, going on 25. I was like, oh, he's probably still covered underneath my rider. So I called my insurance. I was like, hey, of course they're gonna be apologetic and everything, but I was like, hey, I'm trying to check that is my son still on my rider because we got a funeral coming up. So they pulled up the files and like, nah, he just aged out.
Damn.
Yeah, like he just aged out, and I'm like, damn. Mm-mm-mm. And that was that's wholeheartedly on me, because even when he got his adult job, because he worked here at Lockheed, right? When he got his adult job, I never told him, hey man, when you go to HR, pay attention, pay attention, and make sure you sign up for this, that, or the third, at your age or whatever. So yeah, so I ended up having to pay for the funeral out of pocket. So again, not having the debt was like, okay, I could pull something from somewhere and just pay for it or whatever, and just and just rebuild that thing back, right, or whatever. So, debt is just I'm just a anti-debt person, and that's kind of also allowed me to walk away from the job because I already knew what was I bringing in prior to the job, doing the job. So I know if I walked away, my lifestyle is not going to
Yeah.
change drastically. So.
So it's like apparently like old Dave Ramsey does know at least a thing or two,
Yeah,
right?
so
You start with those basics.
Yeah, everybody I think it's a popular thing right now to go against Dave Ramsey. And again, some of his advice, I get it. I get it in this day and age. He's kind of giving advice from his era of things. And I mean, you're talking about a guy who has real estate and has all these, the educational program, and that probably brings him money every day. You probably hit a register ringing a book sale or something like that, or you getting some type of affiliate thing, etc. But if you take away everything, and take away the credit card thing and everything that you probably disagree with when it comes to that 7 baby steps, it works.
It's pretty solid. If you eliminate your debt, save up a little, emergency fund, and then start working on your investments or whatever, you're gonna be good.
Yeah. And even with that, that's why I take his advice on, like I talked to him, right? But I listened to his show, so I kind of
Just text him real quick.
Right. Hey Dave, I just retired. What should I do right now? But that's what I took his advice, because he always used to say, a lot of people get hung up around the 7 baby steps, but never. And I like listen to it for the calls, because if somebody else is jacking up with their finances, let me hear your mistakes. So I don't got to make the same mistakes or whatever. But he said something, and a lot of people kind of overlooked us. He said, "Hey, your first real estate, get it paid for. Get it paid for real estate. Once that start cash flowing, if you want to keep going or whatever." So that's what I did. I got her cashed out, bought a house, and then rented it out or whatever. So what on the military side, I think I ain't always, but you see the ease of life when everything is paid for. I don't know if you ever lived on post or not, but you live on post, everything is paid for. You ain't got no bills coming to the house, etc.
Yeah.
So once your shelter is taken care of, that leaves a lot of opportunity and leeway to, a lot of stress off of you to do, the things that you want to do. But that housing, you don't want to, I think that's people's worst fear, is to be homeless, right? So,
Sure.
But once you got that taken care of, your aperture opens up a lot of, things that you can and want to do or whatnot. So right now, I use myself as an example. My rental pays for, I'm renting right now in El Paso. Didn't plan on being in El Paso, but I'm there. So my rental right now pays for my house in El Paso, so that zeroes me out right there. And then everything I get, from, serving so long, takes care of everything else. So,
Yeah, it's a pretty clutch situation to be in. And military guys got a great opportunity. And I've seen some dudes take advantage of it as well, people that are kind of savvy with this stuff. But, you hear about these guys, you PCS every 3-4 years or whatever it is. And some of these cats have really done it the right way, where they're buying a house in each location, maintaining it and renting it out. So that by the time they retire, they got 4 or 5 properties underneath their belt. Now they're like, I'm looking to buy, a small apartment complex or something. Yeah. And you literally can do whatever the hell you want from that point.
Yeah. And, I think, obviously being military retired to pension, that's a sweet, that pension hits every month. That's sweet, right? You're like, oh man, wow. Like, it's like magic money, like that's showing up. So
it's the golden parachute.
Exactly. So what people don't realize, like, you're really looking for, no, not to sound all, hey, finance bro, and, and Kiyosaki and all these folks or whatever, but cash flow is really the key, right? You want to make sure that you have, most people cash flow is their bi-weekly check.
Yeah.
But you're working for that. So, and especially the days we going, I think we just talked about it on text message, right? The days of, the 7-10%, in the market, people ain't looking for that anymore. They look like, yo, hold on. This is weird. In April, this stock that went up 100-200% already. Like, why is my 401k or my, X, pick your whatever HR told you to sign up for. Why is this thing only up 5% or 6% or whatever? So
people aren't happy with VU and chill anymore.
Nah, like, I need that. Hold on, man. And then now it's sensationalized right now, man. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, but man, we done became a gambling society, man. And I don't even remember we had a conversation in reference to the poly market thing. This is when it was first kind of bubbling up. When we went to go eat pizza when I was here last time or whatever, and I brought up, man, I'm like, yo, you're gonna be able to bet on every and anything.
Anything you can think of.
So it's everything, but all that stuff is to part you from your dollar. So everything all these products that's coming out right now is to part you from your dollar. I just seen the news the other day that Zuckerberg said they're doing a tier of like Instagram and Facebook where it's like a paid tier. I'm like, man, we done had this thing for free for 20 years. Like, what is a paid tier? Like, we gave you all our data. Like, now you want us to pay you to steal our data and target ads to us and everything like that. It's probably more advantageous to small businesses and everything like that. But everything is becoming a subscription, and that's really this. Every time I see somebody announce Apple just did it with their creator tools subscription.
Mm,
Adobe, you used to go, man, you used to go find a bootleg Photoshop.
yeah.
You used to go find a bootleg Photoshop and does, have
Dude,
Photoshop forever,
cars are
right?
fucking doing it now.
I
Like,
saw heard that. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I watched some videos. I'm like, yo, are they charging you to?
yeah, for all these extra features. So like I bought this truck. I got like a fairly new Toyota, and I didn't fully pay attention to some of the stuff when they were explaining it when I first got it. They were just like, yeah, you have an app on your phone. It'll like locate your truck, remote start, all these cool features, get all warmed up in the winter. So you go out there, you just hit the road, you're ready to go. But all of that shit was on trial. So you got a 1-year trial. And then any of those features that you want to keep, then it's a subscription on top of that. And I've heard about cases, I haven't really dove into it, but it going even further for you to be able to actually use some of the features within your vehicle. And then people go off on, these rabbit holes, these memes, and be like, yeah, it's going to be subscription for cruise control, a subscription to, get better quality lights, like your headlight, like everything. It's like you're saying, like they're going to try to find a way to suck up a little more money every month.
Nah, but it goes right back to what I just said. It's cash flow, right? If I have you on a subscription, let's take the Netflix model, right? Netflix, let's do simple math. If I have X number of users at this tier that's paying this, I know every month, what that revenue is going to be, right? So everybody is stealing or, copying a Netflix model. And I get it, shareholder value, blah, 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 or whatever. But, this subscription stuff got to stop because you got the subscription stuff going to go on. You're going to subscribe to everything. You ain't going to own a damn thing. And then you got and now this token thing is just getting crazy too. Like, like even with ChatGPT, I was using the free version. I was doing some coding on it or whatever. And I reached the end. It was like, oh yeah, you reached the end of this model. We'll bump you down a tier of a model, or you could go ahead and sign up, sign up for Plus. I signed up for Plus, but
which I get to a degree, but it's like when they start trying to throw out subscriptions for stuff that was typically free, again, like car features or even Instagram, I'm like, paid platform, like get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm not playing this game.
Nah, everything is going to be subscription based, man. And until I always say, all these corporations are they'll do it until it hurts them.
Yeah.
Right. They don't care about it hurting the common person. They're going to do it till it hurts them. So if everybody, oh, grocery's so expensive. Okay, we still paying it. So guess what? Yeah. I'm charging this price for beef. Well, I know there's a whole bunch of, that's a commodity. So it has a lot of things behind the supply chain of beef. So I get it, if it goes up and down or whatever. But let's take a restaurant then. Let's take the grocery store out of it. If I bump up my burger or I bump up my steak to $2 more and people are still buying it, I'm not going to go back down.
Yeah, let it ride. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I mean, you see, McDonald's has got hooked up. Like McDonald's, everybody started kind of, crying. No, it's crying. Let me not use that word. Everybody started kind of voicing their concerns that, hey, when McDonald's get so expensive, I could go to a restaurant versus coming here or whatever. So they started panicking. That stock started going down. Guess what they brought back? Hey, let's bring back the value menu, and hey, come on back in. We got a $5 meal for you. Come on, we're gonna meet you where you at. We're gonna provide something for all price points or whatever. Because they know that once people get in an uproar and that bad PR, come on, everything is PR now, right? Because I could get on my phone right now and bash a company and somebody will say, no, I'm not going there. Like if that was his experience, I'm not going to go there. So all that bad PR, via social media, you don't want that in your life. But
just like you said, it's like the only thing that matters is shareholder value. It's like the army, anybody who's been in the military knows you do all these PowerPoints. The only thing that matters when you're briefing the commander, whether it's your training slides, whatever, you just need to have everything be green, right? There can't be anything else on there. These companies are just operating the exact same way. If profits are coming in and the numbers are good, that's all that matters. Anything else is a footnote. Yeah.
But in order to keep going up and to the right, you got to crank it a little more. You either gotta have a new offering or you gotta crank it a little more. Hey, let's crank it some more, right? Until you're gonna crank it until it breaks, and then you're gonna either back it down a little bit, have a new offering, offer a new product, a service, or something like that. But you know, a publicly traded company job is to go up and to the right. If you're not doing that, you better figure it out.
I feel for people too. I think I was talking about this on the last episode I put out, but you know, I'm a person that like I'm comfortable. I'm not balling out or anything, but I'm comfortable. I'm good to go. So I don't have to worry too much. I mean, I'm still like, what the fuck's going on with these gas prices, right? But I just think about all the people that are struggling, you know, and just trying to pay the bills, just living check to check with how expensive things and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I'm like, bro, like there's going to be some sort of breakdown at some point. There's going to be some sort of chaos that's going to ensue once you get enough people that are desperate.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it just history repeating itself? Because I'm pretty sure in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I think folks that's really just, all right, I'm going from beef to chicken. Like people just kind of adjust, right? Adjust to the times that they're in and in the situation that they're in or whatnot. So
100%. Like, yeah, you're going to adjust. You got to do what you got to do to survive. But now we're in this period where I think the information's out there, right? People are just much more aware of what is going on, because if there was a financial crisis in the 80s, you would just listen to your nightly news or check out the newspaper and you'd be like, well, I guess this is just what's going on. Where now, you know, you have the wealth of information across the internet and things are more transparent. So people are just asking a lot of questions as well. Like, not only is everything expensive and like, you know, the little guy feels like he's getting fucked over, but then you just find out that there's fraud, waste, and abuse everywhere. There's fake, you know, Somali daycares. There's endless amounts of money flowing to fucking Israel and Ukraine and all these other things. What is it? We're giving millions of dollars every week to the fucking Taliban still.
Hey, we got a fund for if you storm the Capitol, we gonna give you some money for it. Like,
right.
So yeah, it's a slap in the face of the citizens sometimes, a lot of times, right? You know, and you know, we kind of started off talking about investing and stuff like that, but it's hard if you don't have any discretion. I guess that's discretionary, right? Discretionary income, it's hard to invest. Like, dude, I got, you know, everybody gonna say, oh, but fractional shares and this, that, or the third. It's still not that easy. It's that easy to do, but if you're really budget constrained, nobody's thinking about investing or whatever. And,
especially if you're late to the game. I mean, I saw a number the other day that was kind of terrifying, but it was like the amount of like 55-year-olds that didn't have any sort of retirement account or plan or anything. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
So I talked to everybody, you know, I'm kind of contradicting myself because I didn't tell my son to do this. But again, I went through it when I used to work at University of Pennsylvania Hospital. I was young, I got out of the military. I got a job there as a medical assistant. Then later I was a cardiac stress technologist, right? I worked there probably 2 years not contributing. So they switched me over from the hospital side to the research side when I started doing cardiac stress tests or whatever, and I had to do HR again. And I actually paid attention to the HR brief, and I'm looking at the HR brief. I'm like, man, I missed all that matching, and I'm young and dumb, right, running around. But I'm like, I missed 2 years of matching, 2 years of this, and even at University of Penn, they have, I forgot what the zone is called, but they have a zone of where they incentivize you to buy a house inside of that area because they want folks to kind of work in the area to, you know, get back and forth to work or whatever. So they give you down payment assistance and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I've been working here for 2 years and I missed all of this stuff, not paying attention. So, cautionary tale. HR, read everything. Read everything. Ask questions. There are no stupid questions, because if you miss that HR brief, you probably won't never hear it again unless it's at a water cooler talk with your buddy, or after HR, you really don't hear anything from HR unless you're in trouble. But or you know, what is it? Your yearly.
Like the open season.
Yeah, open season. Hey, make sure you pick. If you don't pick anything, we're just gonna keep rolling with what you got. So, but after that first HR, that heavy HR brief, they ain't never gonna talk to you again.
No. And you're missing out on tons of probably tax advantages and retirement accounts. That's why I'm obsessed with talking to my kids and showing them a compound interest calculator. Because I tell people all the time, I'm like, literally, if you're 18, you could squirrel away 25, $50 a month and let it ride until retirement age. You know, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in society between now and then. If that's 40 years, a whole lot could change, right? But still, like as the system is now, you might as well participate in that. But again, time in the market beats timing the market. Sure. So if you're trying to play catch up, you're in a tough spot. I'm not saying don't do it. You should definitely still do it. But what you really need is just time to work on that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, because again, kind of in that vein, right? If we had S&P or NASDAQ 20% the last 3 years, let's say you had $100,000 kind of leading up to that, you know, you done made 60 grand and didn't do anything, right? You done made 60% on your money there. But if you're not in it,
yeah,
what?
Right.
You can't do it. But again, I say that HR brief, and some people think I'm trying to go all mentalities that I want to bring that money home. I don't want that money coming out my check. I don't want the, you know, oh, it's going to take this much money. You know, a 401 is going to take this much money out of my check every month or whatever. No, but, you know, you always got to think about your future self, you know, and obviously being damn near 50 now, going on 50 is like, you know, I wish I knew this when I was kind of 20. That's what we trying to tell our kids and stuff. Like, hey, I've been down the road. I played these games before. Like, whatever you do, sign up for this, set it and forget it. So that's why I always admire soldiers. I didn't have this when I was a young soldier, but when they say, oh no, when I came in, my squad leader or my team leader told me to make sure, you know, that's when you had to elect in, right? To be doing the TSP or something like that. So, you know, you got, even if you think I'm not going to do a 20-year career, you know, you got to start. Well, you got to start young, because as you said, the compound is where the magic happens. So,
oh yeah, I had a platoon sergeant that did that for me, and I still thank that dude anytime this conversation comes up. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know where he's at right now, but staff sergeant from back in the day, you really hooked it up.
Yeah. I had a Sergeant Keith McNair, so I remember because he helped me out, right? You always want to remember somebody who kind of helped you out along the way. You know, I don't remember a lot of names from back in the day, but Keith McNair, when I first got there, this was in the 90s, right? And this is 96, 97. I first got to the unit, took me to the side. He was like, hey, you need to do your correspondence courses. Handed me a box of yellow books. I'm like, oh,
what is this trash?
You're like, hey, these are all your books that's in your sub course of your MOS or whatever. And showed me how to, you know, go through. I forgot what it was through, but to go to, you know, make sure you're doing all the correspondence courses. So when it came time, you know, as a young soldier, you ain't thinking about, well, why am I doing this or whatever? But when it came time, and you know, that points, I never had to play the points game because I already had, you know, I maxed out correspondence as a private already. Mm-hmm. You know, private through special, I already maxed out correspondence courses. So when it came time to the points, I didn't have to worry about the points game because I already had, you know, that on lock. You know, my PT was already up there or whatever. So between PT, I think that, what was it back then? PT, weapons, and the board and everything.
Yeah,
board
that
points
was,
and everything.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah, so, you know, but again, but I say that to all the leaders that, you know, this mic might touch their ear. Let your soldiers know your mistakes. Let your soldiers know, even if, you know, luckily he showed me that to kind of play that game, but it's okay to, you know, soldiers, children, somebody you care about, niece, nephew, anything like that, explain to them your mistakes. Now, if they go and choose to kind of make that same mistake, that's their choice at that point in time. But you told them the stove was hot. This is what could happen if you put your hands on the stove. If they put their hands on the stove at that point, that's a personal decision. Yeah. But I always learn, you know, I always say that I probably learned more in the military from bad leaders than good leaders, you know, because kind of like, no, I don't want to be like that guy or whatever. So when you actually got a good leader, or get a good leader, you hold them in high regards, because it's a, you know, I'm gonna say there's a lot of bad leaders in the military.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of bad leaders, and their erosion of leadership that's happened year after year after year. And I get it. Long war, you know. Then you got the clash between the war folks and then the garrison folks, because, you know, we started getting that cycle of, I don't like to call people slick sleeves, but, you know, kind of that whole fight, you know, internal fight between that or whatever. Like, hey, soldiers don't choose the time they come, you know, they choose to come in. They choose to come in. Somebody told me when I got in, you know, because I was chasing too. Because I'm like, oh man, I got to get, you know, because I didn't want to be a stereotype, right? I'm like, yo, I got to get out there. Like, calm down. It's gonna happen, man. Like
Hmm.
you don't need to chase it. It's gonna happen. And sure enough, it happened. So
There's another thing that I
yeah.
was talking about last week, so I don't want to be overly like repetitive, but in general, and it goes across the military or with families and just society, I think there's a serious lack in what we do to prepare the next generation for life. I think at least in the Western world, or maybe not even that, maybe just America. And this is generalizing a whole lot, but it's just something that you see. You can just go out in society and you see it. There's something missing in how we prepare the younger generations for the future. They ultimately have to take over. And I feel like we don't do a really good job at that overall as a society. I think maybe I don't know if it's like a self-centered thing or it's just our culture. It's just, we're so individualistic. It's all about like, let me just get mine and like kind of fuck everybody else. When, I mean, I get like a certain degree of that is fine, but it's very short-sighted to not be thinking like, yeah, it's critical that I prepare my junior soldiers, my children, the kids down the road or whatever, to prepare them for life and prepare them to take over, because it's going to fuck me over if I don't, So it's like, if you want to be self-centered and only think about yourself, whatever, that's fine. But you have to understand, like, these guys are going to be running shit next. And if you don't help them prepare for that, then, I mean, you're going to deal with that however when it comes, when everything falls apart and you're like, oh, these kids fucking suck. I mean, like, well, nobody was helping them.
Yeah, so let me take the other side of that. So, you said you brought it up before. So let me take the other side of that and kind of see where you're at with this. So, okay. But what are you telling me that for, Boomer? You still remember no internet. You didn't have half the tools that I had, I have all the tools. Like, well, so what are you trying to tell me when you're in discovery learning just as I am in this current thing that we call life or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, touche, like that's a thing. I would argue, and this is just me specifically, I'd be like, well, I'm a tech bro, at least to a certain degree. So you're not going to pull a fast one over on me. Like you're 16, you think you're shit hot on fucking Snapchat or whatever. I'd be like, cool story. Okay, maybe I don't know how to use Snapchat that well, but otherwise, I'll run circles around your dumbass, and I can probably teach you how to use these tools in a much better way,
Right.
as opposed to just trying to like create your own anime chick with big tits or whatever, whatever it is that you got going on in your basement. But that is a fair point, and that's something that you're always going to deal with in every generation. The older generation is going to be like, fuck them kids, and the kids are going to be like, fuck those boomers, and they're never going to quite see eye to eye. But it's just something that, again, I think that we're just missing in the development phase. Our education's fucking horrible. And then with all these families, you can't control a family, but, all parents are not created equal. And you got a lot of single parent households, and sometimes it's just evident. You see these fucking hoodlums running around and you're like, what is going on? Where are your parents at?
Yeah. And I saw you brought that up in one of your previous, I think maybe 2 episodes ago, in reference to, the school system. And I totally agree. The school system needs to change. Like,
big time.
The teachers are miserable. The kids are not engaged, and again, even they got to roll out my kids' school, no phones, this, that, third. I mean, kids still had a phone to school, but why are we still teaching to the Industrial Revolution standards? Like, it's over. All right, most of these kids aren't going to go work in Detroit at a factory. Like, create programs, create charters, create things in the schools that's going to benefit these kids post high school. Because I went to high school, military, then went to college, like stayed at college, like full college experience or whatever. And, obviously now being world traveled and then going to college, and I'm sitting in there looking around like, this is high school plus. Oh, yeah. This is the 13th grade. Like, these kids don't realize that they're going to get spit out of this institute. It's a cocoon. Like, college, especially if you go to a college and dorms and everything like that, and you go to the DFAC, the version, like, this is a cocoon.
Yeah.
And one day this cocoon is going to spit you out, and you're going to be, all right, thanks for the money. Figure it out. Oh, you got all that student debt? All right, but did you enjoy yourself? Did you have a good time or whatever? So it's just like the educational system needs a complete revamp. I kind of look into the Montessori kind of,
Yeah, those are
for the
great.
young kids or whatever. And then when they get to the high school, luckily I went to a high school that's still at that point. I graduated in '96. I'm gonna age myself, but in my high school we had charters. If you was mechanically inclined or wanted to be mechanically inclined, you go to auto shop. If you wanted to be, a business person, we had the business portion of the building. If you wanted to do hospitality, we had hotel, restaurant, and tourism charter in there, right? So everybody that first year you don't pick a charter. That's kind of basic learning. But the next 3 years you pick a charter to where you see yourself in the future or whatever.
Hmm.
We need to get back, to something like that, because the raise a hand, answer a question, a bunch of, even my kid in college, I looked at his syllabus. I'm like, what? Like, what this got to do? You trying to be a theater major? Why are you doing these classes? Just to get money out of my pocket? Like,
Oh yeah.
come on. It's just like, meet the kids where they at, not where you think. That's because you keep repeating the same thing over and over again. These curriculums are so dry and boring, and you're giving them a bunch of knowledge. They might be good if they need to play Jeopardy one day or something like that, but to get out here, they need applied specific knowledge on a thing.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, if you make me ruler for a day, there would be two fields that would be highly lucrative to work in, and they'd have tremendous funding and with the focus of creating like the highest quality product we possibly can, but it'd be education and law enforcement.
Mhm.
Because I think with those two things, if they're done right, that does a lot for kind of what I'm talking about, of like kind of helping to shape culture, keep things operating appropriately and preparing the next generation. But both of those fields, I mean, police is a little bit better, but you're asking these guys to deal with horrendous shit,
Mhm.
and it doesn't pay that well, and it's not that glamorous of a job, especially these days, because a lot of times police get vilified. One thing goes sideways, and everybody across the nation is like, fuck the cops,
Yeah.
Like they should have the best training, the best candidate selection, because you need those guys to be the best, or as close as you can be to the best. We've all heard those horror stories of some fucked up cop that just makes everything tremendously worse. But education as well, being a teacher should be lucrative, and it should be a program, like a high quality program,
Mhm.
focused on like results and not just kicking the can down the road until it's somebody else's problem, barely paying their bills. I was talking to this one lady, and she was like, most of the teachers, and this was in D49 here in Colorado Springs, she's like, there's multiple teachers that go do like DoorDash and shit on the
Mhm.
weekends, or they got roommates and shit like that. And they're trying to tell their roommate to shut up because they're grading papers in their off hours. Like that. Good luck having a good quality education when that's the system that you're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we pay somebody to shoot a basketball billions of dollars, and the future of
Yeah.
society is
Future
paid,
society is nothing.
paid crap, right? So
I was even thinking about
Yeah.
compared to like the AI stuff. I mean, these are individual companies that are doing their own thing, but there's billions and billions and billions of dollars floating around towards a capability that we don't even know exactly how it's going to be realized. There's massive amount of investment, and the return is still a little bit of a question mark.
Super question mark. Yep.
So that's why I was texting you the other day. I'm like, is this a bubble? Is this thing gonna burst?
Yeah. I think everybody agrees it's a bubble, and out of that bubble, kind of like the .com bubble, you'll have the rising stars that'll survive it, and then everybody else will just go away. Like
Yeah.
a failed AI business, or whatever. To the school thing. Also, I think as a child, I think everybody. You don't know what you don't know, right? But I want to be a police officer. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be that, right? So you're just going to say what appease you as a child on that. But in high school, I think at the middle school, high school level, you're going to know, a child is going to know what they gravitate towards more, right? What would be the least path of resistance? So put that kid to the least path of resistance to what their brain is focused on. Don't put them, it's two cars colliding. Education and a kid's brain is two cars colliding with each other, because you're teaching them a bunch of knowledge that they don't need.
Yeah.
Reading, writing, arithmetic. Get it. I get it. Addition, subtraction. Know how to read, know how to write. Everybody needs to know how to do that. But post that, specify, like put them on a track where you see that they're geared to. And I think most kids, especially at the high school realm, know what their interests are. So we need to do more directional training for these children. The
Yeah, it's almost like the
Yeah.
education should go up to like 6th grade, teach them the basics, kind of like what you're saying, and then it needs to go into like more of like a mentorship program.
Yep.
Where you're trying to help people develop and choose that direction and find, and that's why I do love the Montessori method, like you were talking about, because they kind of let kids gravitate towards their strengths. And so you might have a 6-year-old that works his way up into algebra 2 or pre-calc just because you had that capability, and they'll let them run with it, which is great, instead of tailoring all 30 kids for that hour to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, a kid that knows that he wants to be a scientist wants to be a scientist. Trust me. And he'll do what he or she will do what they need to do to be that scientist. Everybody don't need to learn all deep, how many science. I got buku sciences, right? All those sciences, right? Why, it's cool, general knowledge, microbiology, anatomy, physiology, and all these other things, but that's not what I want to do. Like, why you keep forcing me to do things that I don't want to do? And then that's when you start getting a rebellion, or school's a waste of time and everything. So, but what's happening, what I see that's going to happen is corporations are seeing that, first of all, I don't need your long ass pipeline. I don't need your 4 or 5 years, 8 years, and some. Doctors say go 8 years or 12 years, however long it takes. We need you. We need you to get deep in the weeds, especially go to the surgery and things like that. But
at least for a little bit longer until the robots take over.
Exactly. But these corporations are going to say, no, come to us. Come, you finish, reading, writing, arithmetic or whatever. You interested in this? Come to us. We'll train you in house, and it'll be a lot faster. It's kind of like an apprenticeship, right? If I want to be a plumber, I'm going to do, I'm going to do my trade school, and then I'm going to apprentice and learn a job. So I think corporations are going to start taking that model. I think they already are. That's going to take that model and be like, all right, you're not a, can I say the word retard?
Yeah, go for it.
You're not a complete retard. So come to us. You have the building blocks of things. You're interested in this company. You're interested in what we do. We'll take you in and we'll train you in-house. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a lot faster glide path to what we need. And we can specify you to what we need versus you 4 years of school and everything that goes along with school. Because, college ain't nothing but a disco with a school, a disco with books, as Chris Rock would say, right? So it's like, nah, we don't need you to do that anymore. Come to Google, come to Amazon, come here, and we'll train you in-house to what we need, because we need you. We're going to need you faster until we don't need you at all.
Right. But yeah, teach people skills and capabilities and stop wasting time with shit that they can Google. Why do I need to take a test on this like super specific Civil War battle? Like, it's cool to know the basics and like what was going on. That's great. But anything beyond that, like, again, if it's a quick Google away, then I don't really think there's any reason to be teaching it anymore. Teaching memorization is fucking nonsense.
I think everybody, who's been in that era that had to take the SAT could have realized that test was the dumbest test ever, right? You're going to sit me here for hours on all these general knowledge questions and everything like that to give me a score. One, if I'm sitting there for hours, I'm probably going to be fatigued, for one. So are you testing my brain power under distress?
Yeah, is this an endurance test?
Yeah, right, exactly, right.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose of this test? You're going to spit out a grade. You're going to spit out a number that colleges are going to use, and I think they, COVID, I think they stopped doing SATs for a little while for interest criteria. I think they just brought it back, that they brought the SAT back. But that shit is just a dumbass test. ASVAB was kind of stupid too. Like, again, what are you trying to, all right, do I know what size this nut is and everything like that? Like, what, I get it. You try to see where my aptitude kind of lies, and reference trying to point me towards a career that I'm probably more suited for. Sure. Right. But again, the test is so long, it's like,
yeah.
What are you testing? I'm tired, man. Like,
maybe it's just to filter out like the complete window lickers. That seems to be the only thing that it actually identifies. you know, like you pass, or so it really only matters if you do really bad or really good. Other than that, it like, doesn't matter. You just get a check mark.
Yep. So,
go about your day.
So switch gears a little bit. You see your boy's ship just blew up.
Which one?
Bezos.
Oh yeah. Didn't even make it off the launch pad.
Nice little fireball.
Yeah, so, good luck. Good luck competing with Star or SpaceX. Anyway, I was about to say Starlink, but I mean, they're so deep in the game. They're basically the only game in town. I mean, I don't know who is really going to become a competitor at this point.
Did you see his roided out interview? Oh, you ain't see the Bezos interview? Oh, you got to take it out. But I do agree with him on something like, you know, American way and monopolies and stuff like that. You do need competition, right? Competition spurs ingenuity and spurs, you know, different things, you know, kind of that race, you know, that race. We got to talk about the endurance games too. Kind of that race. So you kind of at least need at least a 2-party thing to kind of keep, you know, keep the innovation going, whatever. So he had some interesting talking points. Shooter hit me up in ref the interview too. It's like, so he's saying the bottom half of society only contributes to 3% of the taxes. He's saying that bottom 3% don't charge them any tax. For what? It's not helping. Why are they sending their money to the government? So if you really want to increase people's spending, saving, investing, just take their tax out. You're going to give them an automatic raise. And I agree with him in that statement. But then let's go to the opposite side of the pendulum. He has a problem with right now with I forgot to do the New York, but like the billionaires being vilified. You know, they just passed a thing in New York where if you don't stay, if you have a second home in New York, your property taxes is going up, right?
Mom,
so right. So he like, I don't appreciate the vilification. I pay billions of taxes a year. I don't appreciate the vilification of billionaires or whatever. So he had some pretty good talking points in that conversation. Okay. So
I'll have to check out that interview.
So I say all I have to say is they probably sabotage the shit.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Like, oh, good ideas. We got to get rid of those.
Yeah, I thought I was going to end that maturely, but no, they blew your ship up.
Yep. They're like, that's enough from you. That's enough from you, Jeff. Right. Shut up.
Elon was probably laughing his ass off, like, ship going.
Shoot. He's blown up plenty of ships too.
You know what trips me out in reference to this whole space race and ships and everything? So I was in school in the 80s. It's mainly the 80s. I really didn't hear too much about it in the 90s, but science always consisted of Halley's Comet and the ozone layer. So when I look at the last, what's Elon's called? The Starship?
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah. So I look at it go up. I see all this exhaust and everything or whatever. It comes down, lands, I think that's the Indian Ocean or whatever. It lands in the ocean, blows up. It blows up. And I'm like, I haven't heard jack squat about the ozone layer. When I was in the school in the 80s, it was, these cans got chlorofluorocarbons and they holes in the ozone layer. So anybody who hears this, how's the ozone layer? Can somebody tell me how the ozone layer is doing right now? Because we sending a lot of stuff. Stuff is blowing up in the atmosphere, ionosphere, all those spheres or whatever. And we don't say anything about it, but spray cans, like hairspray cans back in the day was a thing, right?
I know. I don't fully understand it. Definitely not a scientist. But there was like a specific chemical that we used to have in a lot of like aerosol cans.
Yeah, chlorofluorocarbons. Is
that what it was?
Yeah.
And those have been outlawed. And I remember seeing something somewhat recently, and they were like, the ozone layer is like good. Mm-hmm. So it was that one specific chemical that was somehow attacking it, which does seem crazy. You're like, was ladies really using that much hairspray? I mean, in the 80s, maybe they were. Yeah, it's just like this. That shit's like a helmet. But apparently the ozone layer is good, but the climate conversation is just hilarious in general, and it's all over the place, and you don't know what to believe because one side will tell you, the house is falling down. The other side will tell you it's fake news. It's not even real. The Earth's climate just changes naturally, so it's hard to get down to the fucking brass tacks on that one.
Yeah, so I was listening like, was everything I learned as a child, was it a lie, or y'all just don't care anymore? Like, I don't know, because I mean, it got beat down with the ozone layer. Like, oh, let's do a science project on the ozone layer. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's back to the charts. As long as the charts are green, who cares?
I don't remember anything from elementary school but the ozone layer. That's how much it was. And Haley's Comet. That's how much that was beat down into us in the damn late 80s, man. I'm like, come on, man.
And we were supposed to have flying cars and cities on Mars by now already.
Yeah, I'll never go to Mars. But,
no, that sounds like a horrendous journey.
Nah.
I watched a video on that the other day, and it's funny. So, like, yeah, SpaceX kind of scaled back a little bit from the Mars thing, and they were focusing more on moon base first. Totally makes sense. NASA's now like gearing up and getting on board with moon base, but with the travel to Mars, it's going to be brutal on any human being that goes. You know, sending robots all day long, but it's something like a 9-month trip. And you can only leave a certain amount of time. So you only have limited launch windows because of the orbits. Because there's some times where Mars is on the other side of the sun and Earth is over here. So you have to wait until they're kind of synced up.
Thing,
So it's something like, it's like a minimum, like a 3-year deal. If you go to Mars, 9 months to get there, like 18 months on site, like 9 months to get back, we don't know what that will do to biology. Yeah. I mean, space travel alone already completely wrecks the human body, not to mention that Mars is like 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So I don't even know if those people ever make it back.
Yeah. Again, the space race thing, I don't call it space race. I'm like, I understand man's desire for exploration beyond the stars. I get it. And, you know, I admire anybody who wants to contribute to that conversation and contribute to seeing what's up there. More power to you or whatever. But again, if we go back to our early conversation, if beef is now $10 a roll that used to be $5, why are we so focused on building more data centers? I made the joke of like the data centers being the new farms, right? But how come we're not investing more? I mean, most of these things are corporate farms these days anyway, that's producing the food that's coming to the market. But it's like, why are we not trying to build more farms? Because if we just go back to simple supply and demand, obviously there's a constraint of supply of these things is why, and it's still a demand for it. That's why the prices go up. So why are we not investing more? You're finding the land for these data centers. I'm pretty sure a data center needs to be near a source of water or some type of cooling and this, that, or the third. So I would think that same type of land would be suitable to grow something also, right? Yeah. So why are we so focused on these data centers? I mean, I understand why we focus on data center, because now when I think about it, you know, deeply, like if I'm, you know, a user of ChatGPT and I needed to recall, you know, you gotta think my iPhone, right? I pay for storage every month, right? Because and I'm just holding pictures and bullshit in it, right? Yeah. So I get that if people all over the world are using AI agents and all this AI stuff, and it needs to recall, that's a lot of information store. Yeah, big time. So I see why these companies like SanDisk and everything, you know, when we think about SanDisk, you think about the little, hey, let me put my little flash drive in my computer, right? But now when I think about it on a bigger scale, I'm like, oh shit, you know, yeah, that's a lot of holding of information and data or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, what's even in a data center at this point? You know, 10,000 of those drives plus 10,000 chunks of RAM for all the compute or whatever, and just endless amounts of power and cooling.
And every time you prompt something, you're writing to the memory, right? So it's like
it's all stored somewhere.
Yep, and it's like they're not going to purge it every night because you need that. you need to recall. So I'm like, now I see why. You know, I kind of had to do a deep dive in my brain of, man, why is SanDisk and all these companies kind of going to the moon or whatever? But I see if they saying what's going to be the future, that stuff got to get stored somewhere. So,
yeah. But I mean, maybe, you know, to start a business, all you need is a problem to solve, right? To have a successful business. So maybe we'll see a resurgence of somewhat kind of more traditional style of businesses. You know, food is expensive, everything's expensive. Maybe somebody is like, hey, there is some property over here. I'm going to start a regenerative farm, and I got crops in the summer, and I got beef and chicken all year round, and sell it at the farmers markets or to your local community or whatever. And maybe we'll see a little bit of resurgence of that type of thing. You know, so people making their own products and their own arts and crafts or whatever, kind of like a beefed up farmers market, you know,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
let's just cut Walmart out of the equation.
Yeah, right. Walmart ain't having that.
Yeah.
Hey, Walmart, he's just playing.
Yeah. Be like, well, we just bought the farmers market.
Yeah.
So
You just bought your house. You better put a Walmart damn market center right where your house is. Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, the Waltons in some bunker somewhere. So,
Yeah.
but
I have to figure out something until we get to this universal high income, which, you know, that still seems like a bit of a pipe dream. I don't know how that transition would ever work.
yeah, I gotta, when we do this next time, I gotta do some research because there are some states. Asian guy, Senator, I forget his name. He tried to run for president.
Oh,
Asian
Andrew
dude.
Yang.
Yeah. So where he? Chicago? Where is he?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they tried,
or maybe New York. But
I think a town wherever he presides over. I think they tried it where he's at. Obviously, he's the universal basic income guy, right? The big push of it or whatever. But I think there are some townships that have tried that program or whatever. I don't know what the answer is for as far as that's concerned, but
yeah,
because now you're going to keep now inflation. Do I keep bumping up universal basic income every year and it starts? So that's going to be a mess. And we got to go back to simple math. We're in trillions of dollars in debt, right? So what does that mean? We're just going to print more? You know, it's like the debt, the United States debt problem is ridiculous. Like when you start to see those numbers, like that debt clock, you go and look at it at debtclock.org and you be like,
that thing's cruising.
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's moving out.
Ridiculous, man. But like that's why I'm like, where does the rubber meet the road? When does it, you know, does it stop? Is it ever going to go backwards? It's just not. That's not how things are done.
Well, it's like they started trying to tackle it, but, you know, I don't even know what's happening with Doge now. I don't even know if it's even really a thing but they were finding all this shit, but I'm pretty sure it had to get passed through Congress to like officially be cut off or whatever. And I never really caught up with it. You know, there was so much hype around it initially after the new administration took over.
Yeah, Elon pieced out. He was like, I'm doing all this shit and for what? Peace out. Y'all gonna take my EV credits too? Man, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that did nothing but hurt him. Shoot, all his companies were tanking there for a while. People burning down Teslas and shit.
He's like, I'm out, man. Let me go focus on, let me pay what pays. Let me pay attention to what pays me. So
that's just crazy in general as well, that people are so caught up on like in their bipartisan channel, you know, or like their specific team, that something like making the government more efficient was somehow a terrible thing, you know, just because it was under the Trump administration. I'm like, God damn, I'm so sick of this shit.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I just think I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. But America is not going to go for the bull in a china shop thing, right?
Yeah.
We're especially when you're talking about messing with GS jobs and things of that. You talking about folks that probably it's probably a second generation in, a third generation in the GS system, right? Yeah. So something that when you get that job, you're like, okay, I'm set till I plan to retire or whatever. So when you go in there and you start, and I'm, here's exposing some stuff that's true, right? And, a common person could like, oh yeah, that's inflated or whatever. I think that was the bigger problem. And, I know this administration was trying to be of action, but yeah, you can't run America like you run a business. And Bezos kind of alluded to this also, right? He's like, if I ran Amazon the way that the government runs America, you'll get your package 2 weeks later. Yeah. And then when you get your package and open it, the right thing, and the thing you order is not even going to be right in there or whatever. So, but no, that ship is, the government ship is so big to turn around that you're not going to be able to scorched earth it and rebuild it back, so I don't know what the answer is in reference to figuring that piece out. You know what? Because
it also highlights such a major flaw in our system too, because I think you're exactly right that it's a slow moving ship and it has to be handled delicately to a certain degree. But if the trajectory changes every 4 years, then that means the ship just does this and doesn't ever go anywhere.
New leader, new ideals, right?
Yeah, so it's a problem with our system. I mean, I heard some of these even European countries, I think it was Poland, and they were talking about how we need to distance ourselves from America and not be relying on them so much because they have a different priority every 4 years. One administration, we're best friends. The next administration wants nothing to do with us. So it's like, that's not a good homie. You know, if your homeboy's like that, 1 week is cool as shit. The next week he's like being a total dick. You're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna fool with you, man.
Yeah, I got my own opinions about Poland. So
yeah.
Poland, a lot of their things are from America. Like,
oh yeah,
we did a lot of. So it's kind of like, let's say you ask me to help you move. I help you move, whatever, going on about my business. Then I ask you, hey, I'm about to move too. Can you help me? And you're like, nah, I don't feel like it, right?
Yeah.
So, being stationed in Europe and kind of seeing the capital investment that we put over into those Eastern European countries, we have a lot of investment over there, right?
Mhm.
So when it comes time to rubber meets the road, and I ask you for some, I could, like, I'm playing devil's advocate here, right?
Sure.
I'm not one way or the other, but if all this capital investment, helping out with your state plans and everything, how you going to defend yourself? How are we going to defend you if some shit pop off or whatever? I expect some loyalty, in return when I need you, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? We'll settle that up when the deed is done, right?
Yeah.
But you could go to another daddy. He right there. He wants you back. So
it's true. But I guess to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate is like, is America really out there and investing this money and infrastructure or whatever, like out of the goodness of their hearts to like build up their buds? No, it's all self-interest. It's 100% self-interest. So we might like try to package it to make it think like, oh yeah, you're gonna love this, but it's secretly all about me.
Yeah, I mean, but in business and in negotiations, right? You want to find something that's, somebody's probably gonna benefit more, but you want to find something where that's mutual beneficial for the both, right? All right. Big Daddy over there don't fuck with you. We're going to make sure you got some assurances or whatever. But hey, we need this. We need the grain from there. We need this, we need this export from this, that, or the third, right? So you kind of looking for a mutual beneficial relationship. And again, I think where we went wrong, let me not say that. I'm trying to be at least political. Right. Trying to stay apolitical, but the bull in the China shop thing, right? It's like these nations don't have the same. If you've been to any other country, the West has its own vigor, right?
Yeah.
They take holidays, buddy. They let their people go for 6 weeks in the year and go sit on the beach and get paid or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. We are grind, get it done, any means necessary, and then once you get that done, what's the next? And they get done or whatever. And a lot of these European countries are not. That's not their demeanor or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard trying to, when we seen it if in Afghanistan, right? We're trying to make this not their culture. The way we do things wasn't their culture or whatever. So we're trying to teach them Western ways of war and things, and it just doesn't work out. But again, well, it's going to keep going, the whole NATO conversation and everything. That's going to be, it just survived me. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, who knows how it'll turn out, And again, what, 2.5 years from now, something completely different will be going on. Who knows? Like my job at work could be completely different. It's just. It's that ship I was talking about, back and forth.
So let me ask you a question then. You kind of alluded to, obviously senators have long terms, but if we let's go to the top and we talk about the POTUS, right? In your mind, how long should that term be?
For the president?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the term as it stands. In my mind, I think there's like three things that I think would significantly help everyone out. Breaking away from the two-party system. So I think if there was room for extra parties that could actually be viable, I think that would be a positive. Term limits in the House and Congress. And, this is like a blanket term. You'd probably have to kind of nug it down to limits and who can do what, but removing money out of politics, super PACs and lobbyists that can just try to sway their guy to just support their thing. Because the whole system was supposed to be, you left the farm, you went and you served your nation for however many years, whether you were in the military, you were in Senate, you were in Congress, you were in politics, whatever. You did your time, you did what you could, you represented your constituents, and then you went back to the farm. And that was it. The whole career politician thing and the massive amount of money in politics and just being stuck in this polarized two-party system seems to be a bad deal. And I think if you just look at it a little bit, you're like, yeah, there's a lot of issues. There's tons of corruption, insider trading, career politicians, fucking people just getting bought off. And they're like, well, my constituents want me to do this, but this guy just gave my camp $10 million. So I'm going to do what he wants,
Yeah.
So multiple things, but those would be my three. Get away from two-party system, term limits, and removing at least some money from politics.
But so you still think the 4-year presidency is a good time to serve as president?
I think so, because with those other things that I mentioned, I think that you can start to develop a system that's a little more cohesive and not just such a pendulum swing back and forth.
All right. So let me ask you a question then. So 4 years, obviously, let's take Trump, for example. He can't run this year, right? That's due to the rules, right? So we saw 4 years, but you start ramping back up 24 months in, like a little before 21, right? We're coming to a midterms right now, right? So you start ramping back up. You're going to start campaigning again. Well, I'm just saying, like, if I'm a first termer, right? You're going to start campaigning again, and now you're going to campaign for the remainder of 24 months to try to get reelected. So, and when you ever look at what these campaigns be costing, I'm like, look like a class president. Like, you spending all this money to be the class president. That money can't, money can't be put somewhere else. That the churn of the political system is expensive itself.
Yeah.
Because, I'm like, man, how much did that campaign cost? Oh, hell no. So.
Yeah. And I feel like it should be cheaper these days. I mean, we're making a podcast right now in my basement with bare bones equipment that's going to go on the internet that anybody can check out if they're so inclined. And anybody can do that. You don't need to pay $100,000 for 30 seconds of cable TV time or all this other bullshit that you used to have to do in the past. And maybe I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses, but I think in a perfect world, your campaign, especially if you're the incumbent, you're already in the seat, your work performance should speak for itself, and that should be your campaign. Be like, if you guys appreciate the direction that we're going now and you like what I'm doing, then vote for me. If not, then pick somebody else, bro. I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe just whittle it down to the debates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it already become a popularity contest, but maybe just whittle it down to the debates, and like you said, all right, you spend a couple $100,000 or whatever, podiums, mics, whatever, and speak your case, your case. But I get, on the other side of the thing, I get it where constituents and voters want to be seen, want to be heard, want you to do the tours and get on the planes and come over and talk to us about the specific things that you're going to do for us in our area, because every location going to have their nuances of what industry is popular out there, and things like that nature. So again, I can look at it at both sides, but
that should be coming more from like the state and local level, in my opinion. Like here, let's say we're here in Colorado, then I should probably be paying more attention to who's going to be the governor, who's going to be in Congress, who's going to be in the House, and I mean, who's going to be the mayor, who's going to be on the city council, whatever. Things of that nature, and then it should trickle up from there.
Yep.
It's like who the president is almost irrelevant to a certain degree.
You're my mouthpiece, and you go to thing, right? You're our representation when you go up, right?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, so
Like,
yeah,
I don't need to shake the president's hand.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's why I kind of get, I hate talking politics, but when everybody kind of get bent out of shape when X rule or something, like we're going to send it to the state, right? Like, bro, that's your state. You can handle it. You don't need daddy.
Yeah.
You don't need daddy. And worst come to worst, y'all can't figure it out. That's why you got Supreme Court and all that shit that goes on, right? But
Totally.
you handle it in your neck of the woods and come up with a state rule to that. And if that rule you don't like it, guess what? It's 50 plus more of those things states that you could go to that aligns better with your ideals or whatever. So I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that we want. I don't know what people want these days, right? Do you want more state, less government, less federal government, more state, or do you not, right? Because you're right. Like, you're going to make the most change in your local municipality.
Yeah, 100%.
Or kick my ass. So
yeah, I mean, last thing, and then we can get off of fucking government bullshit. But, I think there is some wisdom in states being a little bit more independent and a bit of a reduction in the federal government. I don't see how we can be looking to Washington, D.C. to manage, 350 million people, this massive country. And it's state by state, like, cultures and priorities change a whole lot. And I think that kind of thing should be fostered. Like, if you like the Colorado vibe, again, like, you can do what you can to, like, get to Colorado, or, you like the West Coast thing. You want to be in Oregon or California, pick your poison, so to speak. But I think states should be a little bit more independent and not under this massive umbrella.
Exactly. I ain't like Colorado tax system. Took my ass to Texas. Like,
there you go.
I don't want to pay 10 cents for a bag, right? I want free grocery bags. Like, come on.
Shoot, Florida's going for it. They keep pushing this abolishing the property tax, but DeSantis came on recently, and he had a good point. He was saying that it will take a bit of a buy-in. So it's like, we're not going to have this flood of people that move to Florida. So if you've been here already, you're good. Your property taxes disappear. If you just move here, you pay property taxes under the old system for 5 years, and then they time out.
Yeah, that property tax thing is just like,
it's a
like,
scam,
where's the motivation, right? Where's the motivation? Because if you 15-year, 30-year mortgage, batten down the hatches, like, I think if there's no property taxes and you're going to own it free and clear, that more people would batten down the hatches and try to actually get their house paid off in like lickety split, right? Or whatever. But I get it, right? At the same time, is back to what I said earlier, is a revenue generator, is a cash flow, right? Every year you're going to pay property tax. You're going to pay vehicle registration, whatever tax you got to pay on your vehicle. Is a cash cow for your local government or your federal government. When I just paid taxes this year to the federal government, right? So it's just like, and they abolish that property tax, you are going to, that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, oh, we in Florida. So, yeah. But yeah, you definitely got to protect your people, because you're going to have an influx of people, and you had an influx of people. Now the values of the house is going to go to, everybody going to start paying anything to get into the houses and everything. So that's a third, as we call it, third and fourth order effects will be pretty drastic in reference to that. But totally. Yeah, they got to do away with that property tax thing. Like, let somebody own their home. If somebody, you want to get people in houses and get motivated back to houses and something that they can actually own, and then when they pass away, the key could just hand over to an heir or something like that without no BS or whatever. I'm pretty sure people across the United States would want to buy into that.
100%. Or on the flip side, like, I'm fine with taxes if you get to realize the product or the result, right? So let's say, we're paying our taxes as is, but all the roads are squared away, school system's good to go. You can just walk in the doctor and get taken care of, and then walk out, like that you're talking about something different at that point. But when you feel like you're just paying taxes out the ass, like, you look at how much you pay every year and you're like, what the fuck? And you look around and you're like, what am I actually getting for these, like, thousands and thousands of dollars that are just being squandered? I mean, because that's how I think it probably feels to a lot of folks.
So I see you have your 27 stickers, right? So I just paid my 27. Got my vehicle still registered here. Got to change that, but you know. So I looked at the receipt, like your registration renewal is like maybe $30 or something like that, but it's
Yeah.
so many fees, man. It's I gotta send you a picture. There's so many BS fees in there. Like I
Oh
was like,
no.
this is ridiculous.
Dude, it's like thank God I got the DV plates on the truck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that registration would be out of control.
Yeah, looking at that because yeah, I'm like, let me look at this receipt and see what I'm actually paying for or whatever. And this does like, all right, registration $30, and everything else was a bunch of fees to pay for, and it's like funny sounding stuff like fee for this program, a fee for this or whatever. I'm like, okay. No, so again, so I say all that to say is, even if you get rid of property taxes, I got a feeling they're gonna sneaky, sneaky.
Yeah,
They're gonna
they'll get it some
sneaky
other
somewhere
way.
else, right? It's never a loss. They never plan anything at a loss. They just gonna. It's a shell game. They're just gonna move it to somewhere else, and now you're gonna pay 25 cents a bag or something like that for your groceries.
Yeah, dude, it's trash. Like how are you going to keep paying taxes every year on something that you allegedly own? And there's examples of it, like the worst case scenario, like the little old lady that has owned her house free and clear and just is surviving off Social Security but can't afford her property tax anymore. Even the house has been paid off for fucking 20 years.
Yep. Sheriff sale.
Yeah.
Sell that shit right up from under you. Whatever. That's why they say a house is not really. A house is nice to have, but it's really is a banking product, right? You don't pay, when you sit there and do the math, and then you got 30-year mortgages at a certain rate, again, back to the simple math problem, right? You're going to pay up teens amount of thousands of dollars above what you paid for the house. So, so that's why I kind of like, what's the difference between having a mortgage all these years and living? Because math is a what they say, math don't lie, but it's kind of like it's like a sexy liar, right? Because let's take this house for instance, right? Let's just say you lived in it for, let's say I'm just 10 years, right? It went up in value. So in your mind, you have equity, but if you're not borrowing against the house, right? So it went up in equity, but the house across the street probably went up in equity too. So if you sold your house and you wanted to move across the street, you're going to zero out.
Yeah.
You're going to zero out. So the only way you make money if you're going to sell your house and then move into something cheaper.
Right.
Other than that,
which pretty much doesn't happen.
Everything else, the tides are rising together, right? Yeah. So because if that house sells for above your house, that's going to automatically kind of bring your property value up, because if it's comparable anyway, right? That's something comparable sold in your neighborhood. So now if you sell your house and I want to move across the street, all right, I just zeroed myself out. I didn't make any money.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of sexy to think about it. Like, oh yeah, went up in, $50,000 in equity or whatever. The only way you're going to achieve that equity if you're going to borrow against it. Other than that, all your houses in the neighborhood doing the same thing. So it's a farce in reference to, it is a mathematical farce as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, that's why I feel like a little bit trapped. I mean, I'm not truly trapped, but every once in a while I look around at houses or, think about an upgrade, but I got such a good interest rate and everything here. I'm just like, fuck, it's like, to your point, like all my equity is going to be gone. I'm probably going to have to roll it into the new house. My payment's going to be higher because interest rates are so much higher. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I could upgrade if I want to double my mortgage payment, but I don't really want to do that, so I guess I'll just hold it down.
Yeah, any loan, right? Mortgage, I used to look at my student loan. And when I used to look at my student loan, I used to pay it every month. I'm like, man, this thing ain't really going down. When I looked at it, I'm like, oh, shit. No wonder it ain't going down. It's all going towards interest. So I had to take the personal responsibility and call up Sally Mae. Like, okay, no, this going, I'm paying the base, and then everything else above that goes towards put that towards the
principal.
The principal, yeah. Thank you. Put that towards the principal. And that loan, I paid that loan off when I started doing that, quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Whatever. That the interest is a trap. I don't want to call it a trap, but if you're not paying attention to it and you just kind of rolling along, like I pay, we're in a society where I can afford this every month, right? But what are you affording? Are you really looking at the numbers and seeing what you're actually paying? Because most of that stuff that you're affording it ain't going towards the asset that you have.
Yeah.
That car payment you paying, most of it is going towards an interest payment to some finance company that's cash flow. Right? So
yeah, man. Yeah, it's like, to bring it full circle back to what you were talking about before. It's like, stay debt free, do whatever, or if you do got debt, get rid of that shit like your damn hair is on fire, because that's what ultimately can lead you towards like some element of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, because I did Dave Ramsey plan twice. I'm so smart, I had to do it twice, right?
A quick learner.
Yeah, oh, my wife needed a car, I got a car, and all this other bullshit or whatever, right? So, but then I'm like, but I needed to see that. I had to put my hand on the stove, and like, even though I got away from it, I put my hand back on the stove, and it was still hot, right? And I told myself, next time I get out of it, I'm like, all right, I know I did it once, I could do it again. Next time I do it, I'm not going back. Can't do it or whatever. And these days you can't afford to do it. The way society is going, you gotta sock your money in all assets. Like, it don't matter how much money you got in your pocket. Nobody cares. You need to sock that money away into assets, whether that's real estate, stocks, something that if worse came to worse, you could just borrow against it. If you really in that bad of a bind, you could just borrow against it. That thing is still hopefully appreciating in value, and you sit your ass down and you pay yourself back, right? You ain't got to go run to no bank, and well, you might have to run to a bank, but if you borrow against your stocks, you don't got to run to a bank to say, hey, all right, I got a margin account or a cash account, I'll just borrow against that, right? But the dollars in your pocket it doesn't matter. And what's going to happen is, and we kind of talked about this before, is you're just seeing the erosion of the middle class, and it's going to be, we're leading into a have and have not society.
Yeah.
And the problem is the have not, man, I'm going to generalize here, my apologies, but they still, it's kind of, we still in the, and it's even worse now, like, give them games, right? Let me give you games, and you're not going to pay attention to anything that's going on. You entertain, with these phones, and we give you your little dopamine hits every couple of seconds with these reels and TikToks and everything like that. You're not going to pay attention to anything that's going on. That's why conspiracy theory here. Like, you look at, like, I'm home in the daytime now, right? So again, I watch financial news. I know if something of the world breaches into the financial news, I need to pay attention to it, right? Because mainly they talk about companies, but if something that's going to something important happen in the world, it's going to breach that news. Even in like sports news, if something important or an important person or something happens in the world, it's going to breach that news, right? That's all about sports, or that's all about finance. It's going to breach that news, and that's when you need to pay attention to it. But again, people don't have the adult daycare. Why the market open at 9? Most folks work from 9 to 5. The market opens, if we go New York time, 9:30 to 4:30. You don't have what? You didn't see anything on the day because you at the job, so you don't know what's going up, what's going down, what's going left, what's going right, who's what's trending right now, whatever. You don't have time. You don't have time to.
Yeah.
I talk to, but it is a beautiful game they set up where, go ahead, go do your job, 401k. Hey, no, let's put it right there. We're gonna make sure you're in the market. You're in the market. You don't need to just pick that right there, and you're in the market, right? And,
while you're busy, we're gonna be talking about where all the money is really moving around.
Exactly.
It's wild, man. And I try to tell people, I'm like, for the love of God, don't worry about flexing. And that's still like an issue that you see, especially in young men, right? They'll spend all their money on the outfit or the chain or the vehicle, just riddling themselves with debt just so they can try to pull a couple extra chicks or like flex on their homies or whatever, when you got to look at it from the other side. You see these memes or whatever, and it's like, this is every millionaire in the world was at this point at one time where they had $500 in their checking account, $1,000 in their saving account, a couple $100,000 invested, and they're driving a Prius.
Yep.
But you might look at that guy and be like, what a fucking loser. Check that dude out in 5 more years, though.
Well, now, when I pulled up with my Prius, I was like, oh, they're going to laugh at me. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
I'm still $25, maybe $30 now at the pump. Whatever. But yeah, the flex. People, it goes back to what you said, man. People just gotta pay attention to time. Time is something that you just can't get back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just gonna go on and on. And you got to set yourself out for compounding and growing money. Because guess what? If you do that stuff early, you can enjoy those type of things, right? You could get the new truck, you could get those things because those assets are going to pay for those things for you. Versus you keep having to bust your ass and grind, and then now it's an albatross around you trying to car payments and insurance and everything like that. Is it gets, as they say, it gets greater later or whatever. And I probably was in my 30s until I started kind of having that mindset like, oh man, I wasted a lot of fucking time. And I'm a party animal. I was a party animal back in my day. It's like I just think about all the money I wasted on drinks and partying and all the bullshit that don't matter. Good memories now.
Sure.
Good memories, but
the ones that you have.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of ones that I might have missed.
Good memories, but it's like, man, and I guess that's that come with maturation, right? You mature, your different mindset, your different experiences, and you start to kind of look back at your life and like, okay, I could have tweaked that a little bit.
Sure,
could have still had fun, but I could have tweaked that a little bit. I wasted a lot of money over the years. So
I mean, I would tell these young guys. I try to tell my boys. I'm like, I get it. You just got hormones coursing through your body. It's pretty much all you're gonna think about is trying to get chicks and whatever. And I get it. But if you can, kind of what we're talking about, if you can grind now and get your ducks in order, trust me. If you can get to a point where you're like financially stable, and you're in your mid 30s or even your 40s, you're gonna do well, bro. You're gonna have a great time. You can become one of those high value men that people always talk about, and you're not gonna have any issues. But like, if you can kind of get out of the game that is being played when you're a little younger and kind of focus on the future, dude, it's gonna reap massive rewards.
Man,
but no one's ever gonna listen to that.
Yeah, nah, I mean, there's a maturity. So I mean, I think we spoke about this before, but. So, my kid just turned 21 and he had an Upma, right? So it had a bunch of Apple stock in it. Bunch of it, right? So when he turned 21, I signed it over to him or whatever. Actually, I just met with him yesterday. We had lunch yesterday. I'm like, yo, don't touch that. Like, leave it alone. Just leave it alone because I always hit him up cause I watch the market every day. So if I see, when Apple went down to like 2 something, like maybe 260, 270, and he hit me up and was like, oh man, yeah, it lost 4,000 or whatever that day, right? I'm like, so, yeah. So now that it's up to, I think it was last time I looked at like 310. I'm like, look at it now. Look at it now. You see, you don't touch it. If worse come to worse, shit hits the fan, you could just borrow against it. If shit hits the fan, you just don't break the egg. Don't break the egg. So that's my plan: is to give all my kids a little golden egg when they turn 21. You fuck it up, that's on you. But don't touch it. You have time on your side. The time that I don't have that time anymore to. I won't sound that morbid. I got time, but well, you know what I mean.
Not have 40 years.
But I'm like, yo, I'm gonna give you a golden egg. Don't scramble the egg. Let's sit it there. Let it do what it do. So even if you forget about it. Even if you forget about it and you turn 25, you turn 30, and you look back and like, oh, damn, look what happened or whatever. So, but that's my kind of my plan. Everybody kind of, to bring up Trump, everybody, where I got the concept was from Trump when everybody started kind of shitting on him about, he got the money from his dad or whatever, right? So what? Good.
Yeah, good for him.
Take the same thing, and as a father, take the same principle. And it might not be $1 million, right? It might not be a building that you could sign over to them or whatever, but you can set your child up for their journey easier. Just set them up. You ain't gotta ask them. They kids. UGMA, sign them up, contribute to it a little bit every month or whatever. And then when they turn 21, you ain't looking at them dumbfounded like, oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda, did this, that, or the third or whatever. Totally. You hand them over something. Be like, hey, this is your start right here. You keep building on to it. And then you could get to where I got way faster than I did. I think that's every generation, folks who have kids or folks that they love. Your job should be to shorten that race for shorten that journey for your heirs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna fuck stuff up too, but again,
Yeah, we have like a little bit of a weird mentality with that, because like I totally agree, it's a great idea, but you hear about so many families that like, oh, you're 18, get the fuck out of here, go figure it out. Why not like give them a little bit of a leg up and give them a head start and do it sooner rather than later? You know, I see these things on the internet and it's like, you know, why are you waiting until you're dying and you're 90 and your kids are in their fucking 70s or something, or in their 60s? It's like they could have used that help a long time ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So start that process earlier.
Yeah. I told my mom, you know, as they say, like, grandmoms and mothers are two totally different people.
Oh yeah.
Like the way my mom is towards my kids I'm like, who are you? Like,
yeah.
Like, who are you?
You were a nightmare to me.
You all cap right now. Right?
Yeah, this is fake news.
Yeah, right? So, but I used to tell my mom, like, yo, mom, stop giving them stuff. Like, if you really want to give them stuff, give me the money. Let me put it in a little Upma account, or I'll send you a link. You send it in there, whatever. They have everything. Like, these kids. And I know how I grew up, right? So I always compare, right? I ain't have all this shit. Mom, y'all know my first $100 pair of sneakers. My mom probably, man, mom read me the riot act on that or whatever. And I thought, well, I'll pay you. You know, I was working at the time. I was like, oh, okay, can you go half with me or whatever? Went half, you know, Jordans, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, you know, my kids got everything. Like, each one of my kids have their own console. Like, for what? Yeah. You know, back in the day, you had your Nintendo. Yeah. Two controllers. When the 64 came out, you had 4 controllers, and like, you know, it's a communal thing now.
Yeah, everybody was in the living room. You had to take turns.
Exactly. Now everybody got their own system. And I'm like, Mom, these kids have everything. Like, and I think sometimes, you know, I'll blame myself for some things, right? Because you always want your kids to have stuff you didn't have, and you know, like, you know, you ain't got big for these things or whatever. Like, here, right? That's you know, no. But sometimes I think that does do a disservice because, you know, their struggle is a little bit different, I would say, or whatnot, you know, because I grew up in a financial struggle and, you know, and like, sure, you know, 14, working a summer job, you know, because I want to get to, you know, to spend it on bullshit, right? You know, got to get my school clothes, and, you know, got to be fresh for school and everything like that. But I'm like, Mom, you ain't got to stop giving them these things. They have everything they need. Like, they have everything they need and some. Like, can't you see that? Like, you already know these kids ain't living like how you know, how you brought us up. Like, they have everything.
Yeah, if anything, they're too comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just put the money up and, you know, set them up for the next thing in life. I got everything from here to 21. I got it. Like, Mom, I got it, Mom. But you really want to contribute, help me out. Just give me the money and we'll put it in their my accounts, and then we, you know, that is the bigger shovel, right? Yeah. A bigger shovel to put in their accounts, and we'll give it to them when they turn of age. You know? But yeah. But different mentality, right? Yeah.
Well, I guess with that, you know, bring it full circle, you know, take care of the kids, fucking get your shit right, eliminate your debt.
Cash flow. Yeah. And don't go in any rockets anytime soon. Them things blowing up.
Yeah. Give it some time. Don't be on number 1.
Now they want to do rockets from inter like US, the inter like globe travel. I'm like, you crazy as shit.
So you could be LA to Singapore.
Yeah, 24 like minutes.
All right. Well, again, I'm not going to be on the maiden voyage, but maybe after it's all ironed out, I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah. You know, I'm still traumatized, man, because I grew up during the Challenger days. You know, we all in school, and you got us watching a rocket blow up with astronauts in it. So I'm still you know, like, hey, thanks for the trauma bond now. Every time I see a rocket go up, that's all I can think of is, you know, the kind of that, you know, sitting in elementary school and watching that damn ship blow up. So
I know it, dude. It can always go sideways.
Yep.
So before we wrap it up, what all you got going on YouTube? We'll drop some links and stuff. So we got our show. We got the Last Shop at Run.
Yeah, Last Shop at Run. You know, hobby. So it comes out when it comes out, whatever. So you can look that up on YouTube. So it has its own page now or whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm taking I'm kind of letting our main thing kind of run a couple of days, and then I'm just clipping it up, whatever. Right? Just keeping the algorithm or whatever. I have my own page, so that's old school, new school. So it's OSNS, and I'm kind of doing what everybody's doing right now, kind of just riding in the car and kind of what we talked about here. I'm like, hey, I want people to learn from my mistakes, so let me just, you know, put my mistakes out there or put my successes out there too of what worked for me also. So if it helps somebody out, more power to it. If it reaches somebody's ears and it helps them out, cool. And then worst come to worst is my kids could look at it as an archival thing. If I'm not around or if they kind of need something, they could go back and look at that and say, okay, that's where his mindset was at the time, and this is what he did to kind of get where he at, and and some of the things I did to get where I'm at also. And then
you get the newsletter too, right?
Instagram. So Instagram mission underscore CMD215. So I try to make this fast. So what I'm doing with that is really just financial stuff. So like I watch financial news all day. So what I just do, kind of like a book report. I kind of chunk everything up for that week into the key points. Because again, what we talked about, like folks are working during the market hours, right? So what I'm trying to do is make something easy, digestible, in a newsletter format. And what I do, so everything in that newsletter is from my brain. So everything is, I'm cutting and pasting. I'm doing the chart analysis, the support resistance levels, everything like that. I'm doing my blurb. That's from my brain. Looking at the Mag 7 and everything like that. And so I take that product and then I create derivative products from that. So that's I'm a retired major, so I could do slides. But now with the advent of AI, it could take everything. I built some prompts in ChatGPT where weekly I just ask it to do. I feed it the newsletter, and it makes me derivative products off of the newsletter, easy digestible things. And I just post every day one of those nuggets if somebody doesn't have the time to go and actually read a full newsletter. And that's probably. Yeah, that's what I got going on right now. So
cool.
Mission Command 215. So CMD, mission underscore CMD 215. Old school, new school. That's my personal page. So you'll see things, and you'll see me and my kids when I started. If you go deep into the videos, you'll see when we started the eBay business, and I had my kid running the eBay and everything and whatnot. So, and we still do that to this day. I used eBay as kind of a in-house business program to teach my kids profit, loss, margins and things like that. So I use eBay to do that, and then
nice.
And yeah, that's it.
Well, hell yeah. That's dope. Yeah, we'll put all those links in the show notes so people can check them out. And like always, pleasure having you out, bro. Appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, I know more than enough. I'm on the caffeine. I haven't had caffeine in a while, so yeah. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure, man. I'm glad I got a chance to link up with you while I'm up here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready to get back to the sun though.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it won't be the last one. And you always check us out on the last shop at Run before too long.
For sure.
Hell yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the show out. See you next time.